Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. So guys, this is part 2 of Ariela and Biniyam, a deep dive into their relationship. If you haven't seen part 1, I'm going to link it here and in information down below. And on this video we're going to continue to talk about all of the issues surrounding the circumcision and of course the different religions of both of these guys. And I'm going to give you my view on the whole situation at the end of the video. If you haven't done so yet, please click the subscribe button. Make Ebird a very happy Ebird and don't forget to like the video. So we pick back up and Ariela and Biniyam are outside of the hospital as we remember Ariela's tested positive for being a moaning biatch. And Ariela's just ran out of the hospital with baby Avi to prevent him from having a circumcision. And so next time we pick up with this story, they're back at home. It's 1 week later and Ariela's on the phone. Who's this? She's talking to the hospital, organising for him to have his circumcision. I remember last week you said you wanted him to agree to have it. Has baby Avi confirmed in writing he'd like his circumcision now? No, Ariela's been on the phone to her family and they're pressuring her, and also she says Biniyam's pressuring her to have this circumcision for baby Avi. So it would appear she's getting pressure from all sides. And Biniyam tells us he's relieved and happy that this is going ahead. He doesn't want him to feel shame with all his friends when he's older. And I say to this, Biniyam, why would he be showing his friends his penis? Interesting. Very interesting. And Ariela continues saying she has no choice but to do this and that's the only reason she's doing it. Biniyam says she's overstressing and it's making him really mad and frustrated. It's no big deal. Come on now Biniyam, obviously it's somewhat of a big deal, otherwise why do you care? Of course nothing's a big deal when you're getting your own way. When the Ebird's getting her own way, it barely registers on my fuck you up-ometer. But I guess on this issue, somebody's got to give. Unfortunately, when slicing off body parts, there's no compromising and there's no way back. And so the couple get into the car, and as Ariela's moaning on, saying that she feels she has no choice, Biniyam said, it's just this one thing that I want. This is it, just do this for me and I'll be happy. And Ariela pointed out that he just wanted one thing with the baptism. And she said he pulls at her heartstrings every time, and because she's such a softie, she gives in and lets him have what he wants. Sidebar, whilst we're at the hospital, Ari, I'd like you to get a medical professional to confirm that where Biniyam's concerned, you've actually got a heart. And Biniyam says genuinely he doesn't understand what all the fuss is about. So I have to say, if Ariela wasn't Jewish, I would understand a little bit more that she would be more unhappy, but I think because Biniyam knew that she was Jewish, he probably had just expected that she'd go along with it and it wouldn't even be an area of contention or even a talking point. So I kind of get why he doesn't understand it so much. And finally they arrive at the hospital and Ari is still super worried. She says she doesn't want to see her son suffer and she doesn't want to be the cause of his suffering. She said she can't go in the room when he's having the operation done. And so she stands outside listening. Ariela, you should have gone for a walk around the block. And so of course baby Avi really cries during the circumcision, and Ariela said it's horrible to listen to and she's never ever going to forgive herself for doing this to him. And she's completely distraught, and Biniyam, bless him, he does try and put his arms around her and he massages her shoulders a bit and he does try and comfort her as much as he can. But I have to actually agree, baby Avi is giving a very strange cry. And it does sound like a cry of pain. It's quite awful to listen to, I've got to admit. Poor Ari. I think it's actually worse when you didn't ever want it to happen anyway. And Ariela said she knows now she's not a good mum, and she said he's never screamed like this before. And Biniyam said, don't worry, it will be okay. And she said, you should be more emotional. And Biniyam said, I am human, but you can tell he's trying to just keep it together. And after it's all finished, Biniyam said, I'm really worried about the future of our relationship. And he said to Ariana, I know you're a little bit mad with me, please forgive me. And I've got to say at this point I feel sorry for both of them. Ariana seems genuinely upset, and Biniyam, he's sorry, he's upset, he's relieved. He doesn't know what to think and he doesn't know where will all of this end. And Ariela tells us we need to figure out what's happening with this relationship, because at the moment one of us is always winning and one of us is always losing. And we need to figure out how we can both be always happy. Oh Ari, don't worry. Second place is just first place loser. But she wants to work out how they can both be always happy. Ariana, are you au fait with planet Earth? Are you au fait with relationships? It would seem not. You want both of you to be always happy. Where did you get this taste for luxury? You're so spoiled. And that's everything for this week. So what does the Ebird make from all of this? This is one contentious relationship. The first thing is Ariela seems to be at war with herself. She believes one thing but wants another. I think that Ariela is in a persistent state of cognitive dissonance. She believes in Judaism and all its teachings, yet she doesn't want her son to be circumcised. She doesn't want him to be baptized, but she doesn't care. She believes it's a father's right to be at the birth, yet she thinks it's her baby and every decision is hers and hers alone. Lots and lots of what Ari says doesn't make sense, and I am hoping and praying for Biniyam's sake and for the sake of this young burgeoning family that it is literally just hormones, and this isn't how she actually is. Biniyam does genuinely try to comfort Ari as much as possible, but you can tell he does have his own agenda. He definitely wants the baby to be baptised, he wants the baby to be circumcised, and although he knows what he wants, he does discuss this with Ariela. The unfortunate thing for her is she doesn't quite know what she wants. She doesn't have really strong feelings on anything. And so we saw last week, she definitely didn't want the baby to have a circumcision. She wanted the baby to be old enough to make its own decision, and I understand that. But then the following week she'd spoken to her parents and under pressure from Biniyam, and she caved in and said, okay, let's circumcise the baby. But what I really didn't like about this was the fact that she said, Biniyam's trying to manipulate me, I always do whatever he wants. And there are winners and losers in this relationship. Let's be straight, let's be clear. Biniyam wanted the baby to be circumcised a week ago. You weren't having it and you went home. When your parents got on the phone and your parents said, here's what we need to do, that's when you jumped to action. So don't blame the whole thing on Biniyam. He wanted it to happen, but then so did your parents. Also, don't say, it's my baby, I'll decide, I haven't made a decision yet, I don't know yet what I want to do. You act as if every decision is a unilateral decision. It's not. You're both in this relationship, you're not a single parent, and you've taken the decision to go and live in Ethiopia so that you can be a family together. So you cannot now deny the father of your child his parental rights. You can't do it. And yes, I know I'm going to get loads of flack from this, but I feel very strongly about it that two parents make the child, two parents are responsible for the child, and until one parent shows themselves to be irresponsible or disinterested, you cannot write that person's thoughts or feelings off. It's unfair. This couple need to come together and decide what's best for the baby, and I think that Ariela needs to realise that when Biniyam's saying something about the baby, very often it's not always a dig at you. It's either something that he does in his culture and he believes to be important, or such as the whole breastfeeding thing and what you're eating, what he believes to be best for the baby. I think he's been very loving thus far, both with yourself and with the baby. And on both the circumcision and the baptism, maybe TLC have edited everything and we haven't seen the full story, but how I've seen it, he's actually wanted to discuss it with you and to obtain your agreement to have these things done, which you've given. I'll admit the Ebird was ready and waiting to say, Biniyam's a waster, Biniyam's good for nothing. But for what I've seen so far, he's extremely engaged in this process and extremely bothered by what happens to the baby and also by what happens to you. Biniyam seems to me to be all in. Everything that goes wrong is always Biniyam's fault as far as you're concerned, and I feel sorry for him. Ariela, I've heard that Biniyam also controls the weather, so maybe you can put in a complaint because he's making it too hot at the moment. I think Ariela needs to stop seeing things in terms of winners and losers, and both of these guys need to come together to decide what's best for the baby. Biniyam's been very kind to her this episode, and as far as I'm concerned, he's got the patience of a saint. But I guess it's not that difficult when there are so many TV cameras around. But I think for Biniyam, these first 2 weeks, he hasn't blown up, he hasn't shouted, he hasn't had a strop. I think he's done very well because he's under it in terms of being blamed for everything, being consistently told, it's my baby. I know for a fact if I said that to my partner, he'd say, it's mine too, and my dad wouldn't be having a bar of it. It's both your child. Whew, so that's about everything for this week. So guys, let me know what you think down below. Do you think they should have equal say, or do you think that the mother should have more say because obviously she's carried the baby for 9 months and she's the one given birth? She's in fact risked her life to carry the baby. And what do you think about circumcision? And do you think they should have waited for Avi to grow older so he could decide on his own circumcision? Or do you think it's best to do it now? please let me know down below. I'm just going to make one point before I go. For some people, circumcision is a sociological construct. For some people, it's religious. So please be very careful about what you say. You're completely free to express yourself, but I don't want to hear anyone's religion bashed. I know 99.9% of you can get your point across very politely and very forcefully. That's why I love my subscribers. But also, whilst we're on the same topic, can we please make sure that we temper our thoughts and feelings with regard to Ariela? We know this is an edited show, and I completely don't mind you talking about her behaviour or what we've been allowed to see, but I really don't want to hear anyone swear about anybody or to be extremely rude about somebody. Please make sure you keep the language PG. Right, so that's everything for this video. It was quite a lot, but there's quite a lot to get through. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button, and also please don't forget to press the like button. It really helps me with my analytics. And I will see you very soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.